And good morning, everybody. Welcome again to the Three Wise Men. I am Al Renato with my co-hosts and compadres, Mike Goldstein to my left, a.k.a. Mike from Montclair, and of course, Dennis D'Addario, also known as Dennis from Yonkers, as we have our premier morning edition Wake Up Montclair version of the Three Wise Men, and we talk to you about the world of sports. Fellas, rub the sleep out of your eyes as we try and find a good hot cup of coffee in this town. Michael, Denny, how are you guys doing this morning?
Boys,
Well,
woke
Mike.
up at 4:30 this morning. Couldn't go back to sleep, so I
So excited about the program, couldn't get back
I
to
was
sleep.
thinking about it, thinking about what we're going to talk about, and I got out of bed, showered, threw my hat on because I've gotten some negative press from our fan base about my hairline, about the gray in my hair, about my pasty skin. So I'm going with a hat this morning.
We got three faces made for radio. I mean, they can't. They could pick on us all day if they wanted.
Now, we don't have the benefit of what most shows have, which is a makeup artist. I've been on some sets, and these guys, they make guys like Bob Raceman look like
wouldn't help,
TV, superstars. They, make up from head to
Mike,
toe.
And that is some accomplishment, because I have to tell you, in looking at in watching the show, I thought you looked tremendous last time, and Denny, you look very handsome. Now, yours truly, okay. I mean, like the old saying goes, I need to check these
Listen,
bags
when you get
before I get on the
when you
plane.
get an email from your own mother who said, "Do you think you could get something to color the sides of your hair? Your hair is gray and it's blending in with your skin." I realized that I'm 54 years old. I never looked that good to begin with, and so I'm going with a hat. And I'm waiting for a little sunshine this summer where I get a little bit of a tan. And I think
Explain to the folks what Ditch Plains is out there.
that's a beach out in Montauk, a surfer beach in which I.
Where the rich people hang.
Another place that I can't afford to go,
No. But
which you have no problem making.
trying to find a cup of coffee at 6:30. You'd think 6:30 in the morning in a town like Montclair, other than frequenting the Starbucks of the world, which I'd like to go to a small independent little coffee shop, get my latte. I drove up and down Bloomfield Ave.
How about a good old-fashioned deli?
Nothing.
What time do people
Six-
go to work?
I don't
Deli,
know.
That's the deli's the key. But let's not. Last show we talked about we have a standing bet here, and I don't want to alienate the people here in Montclair. We have a standing bet on golf.
What are we talking about?
Hold it.
Sports?
No, watch. 1.5 was the over/under for Tigers majors. You
Right.
got 2. You're over.
No. You
you're
already
over.
screwed it up. I
You're
said he's
over.
win. No, I didn't. I
You
said
took
he's
over.
I
You-
said
I
no, I
took
didn't.
over.
I said
Oh,
he's
you have
win.
over.
And then I
Okay,
tried
you're
to.
2, you're
I was
under,
1.
And you're never
One.
and you're
I'm
never again.
0.
Right.
And you're never again.
I'm winning this bet, by the way. A dinner. I get a dinner when it's 0 from both of you.
Okay.
And I would like the restaurateurs of Montclair to send me all their menus, and I'll pick out the most expensive one, and we'll go to that restaurant.
Well, we don't
so
What
like
is
you
your
guys can-
What is your point?
Well, let's not knock the people in Montclair, the restaurateurs of Montclair. I mean, we're killing them.
No, but
because
what
they
is-
can't find a cup of coffee.
So what-
I want to get those guys on my side, so they all send
So
me their.
I'll ask you
Yeah.
the same thing I asked you
Yeah.
last week when we discussed this. I mean, so you don't think he'll win any more majors?
No, I don't.
You're clueless because he will.
Well, how do you know?
Well, and I
got
don't
a
know.
crystal
No one
ball?
knows anything. I don't have a crystal
I think
ball.
He's not going to. I think
but
he's carrying a lot of baggage
he's
around.
the
gonna
he's
continue to get 'em.
the only
He's
bag.
older, hasn't won one in how many years now?
It's been 4 or
4,
5.
I think
yeah.
it's 5.
Yeah. Okay.
So, I mean, why would he pick one up again? I mean, he could pull a Nicholas, I guess, but I mean, I don't
Colin
think he will.
Nicholas, it is, first of all, he's playing great. He's the best player in the world right now.
He's playing great on the courses that fit his eye, as he likes to say.
well,
It is-
Augusta
it is-
fits his eyes pretty damn well.
It is
Used to. Apparently
absolutely.
not the last 5 years.
It is
40th
absolutely.
last year, I think.
It is moronic for both of you to think that neither Tiger Woods or Phil Mickelson, who are 2 of the 5 greatest players on the planet today, both will never win a major.
Tiger will not
you
win
guys,
another major.
You guys are both nuts.
And by the way,
and
if
you're
I'm not,
both dead
if I'm
wrong.
not mistaken, won a tournament before each of the first 3 majors last year, didn't he? And then came in 40th in the 20s. And I think he came in 3rd in the British Open, but was a distant 3rd.
Well, this bet will be settled the first week of April.
Quickly.
Restaurateurs, some of your menus.
Quickly.
I'm
Take
picking
it,
the most expensive one so I can get a
Let's
free
move- let's move on from golf.
let's move on from golf because we closed the show with it last time. The New York Knickerbockers are in the midst of their West Coast swing, and people said a 500 road trip, and that would be terrific. Now,
500.
now the question is, will the Knicks get back in one piece? Smoked on their first 2 games. Golden State annihilated. Last night, the game was over before halftime in Denver, who, by the way, just as a
Were they
side
wearing
note,
throwback uniforms last night?
just as a side note,
They have about 5 different units.
Oh, okay.
I think George Karl's the coach of the year, but more importantly, are the Knicks now in a state of disrepair, or is this just a bump in the road? They'll come back home and they'll be fine. Michael.
Bump in the road. I think it's a bump in the road. The $64,000 question is the health status long term for Carmelo Anthony.
And Tyson Chandler got hurt last night.
Oh, I didn't realize Tyson Chandler
Lacerated knee.
Okay, so they are really banged up, and Stoudemire's out now for 8-10 weeks. So I mean, they are clearly a different team. But if Tyson Chandler can come back and Carmelo can get his knee drained and and get healthy again, I think they will certainly recover enough to do what we thought they would do, which is to win at least a round in the playoffs, potentially win 2 rounds in the playoffs, which I think is still a legitimate thought, and then obviously we'll get smoked by Miami.
That's a long bump in the road. From 18-5, they've been about a 500 team for a long time. I don't think that right now they're heading for a first-round matchup with the Celtics. That is going. I'll repeat. That's going to be no day at the beach. That thing will go 7, and they'll be all out to win it. They're going to be all out. This is a very simple equation. In the NBA, when you play 80 games, age is a huge factor. People said at the beginning of the year, and Stoudemire, for instance, they're old. Even their somewhat young guys are old from a sense of bodies outside of Carmelo, who now has a knee problem.
Yeah, I was listening to Mike yesterday, and I guess there was
Felton's out of shape at the point. He's always out of shape. He's always out of shape. Kid's old. Stoudemire's the oldest 31 you'll ever see.
Well, he's not playing now
They're
anyway.
all
He's done.
Rasheed Wallace, Marcus Camp.
They have a team that's actually.
J.R. Smith should be the old guy because he's a nutcase on the court.
They have a team that actually makes the Yankees look young. Their team is ancient, and in a sport where you can't be old. It's
Not
just the NBA.
over 80 games. You can start out the way you expect.
I was listening
games,
to Francesa
18
yesterday.
and 5, and now going downhill.
I was listening to Francesa yesterday, and there was some talk. Francesa. We can bring his name up. And the guy is the gold standard of sport talk. We aspire to be Mike Francesa. Let's be honest. All right, I don't want to kiss his butt too much, but here's the deal. There was some talk about Carmelo was hesitant to get his knee drained because he doesn't like needles. Now this is the guy that has spent a large part of his time getting tattooed all over his body.
Happened? Here's what I think happened. I think he showed his self-absorbed, self-aggrandizing personality again last night by playing in Denver because I had to come back to go to Denver, and now I'm going to go home to New York and get my knee. He should have been on a plane back to New York the second he had a knee problem, getting it fixed.
But then if he's on the plane and not playing, you got people like the guy to my left saying he's jaking it.
No,
so
he's not taking it if he's getting his knee drained.
I'm not arguing with you, but a good chunk of the world's going to say,
this was about
why isn't he in the
I gotta show up
lineup?
in Denver because I used to be. Yeah, you got Denver out of the playoffs, out of the first round once. Please.
So in
stop
other
it.
words, first
Not
of all,
that big a deal.
he's damned if he do, and he's damned if he don't.
I didn't think it was that big a deal, Orlando.
He plays, gets hurt again, and you said, why'd he play? He plays, gets hurt again, and leaves. Why can't he take a needle?
Listen, we know what
And
Carmelo Anthony is.
in Denver, he never lost with the better team. Plain and simple.
you know,
He never lost a playoff series when he had the better
This
team.
Denver team is going on the road. They're probably not better than Memphis, but the point in the
This
first
Denver
round.
team's a very good team.
But
They
they're
got a
probably
lot
not
of
better than
talent,
Memphis. That
and they
doesn't
got
mean-
the coach. Probably not.
You know,
That
Dwayne
remains to
Wade
be
carried
seen.
a Miami team that wasn't as good
That
as the teams
remains
they
to be
beat in
seen.
the last 2 rounds and won a championship.
I'll tell you
He
what's
had Shaquille O'Neal.
I'll tell you what's not.
That was a.
He had the most
over
dominant
that was
player
an over
in the
the hill
sport. He
Shaquille
wasn't
O'Neal.
over. He wasn't over the hill
Yes,
in
he was. Couldn't
2006.
couldn't jump over a credit card at that point.
He's 7 feet tall. Why does he need to jump, Dennis? For Christmas' sake, you're so out to lunch. It's pathetic.
Oh, please. Dwayne
I mean,
Wade,
goodness
check
gracious, you
superstars.
don't know what the heck you're talking
Carmelo
about.
Anthony's a one-dimension scorer. He's a great scorer, but a one-dimension scorer.
One-dimensional what way?
One-dimensional in that he backs you down, he isolates.
Carmelo
stops the
Anthony?
ball.
Carmelo Anthony?
No,
He's a
you're
He
nuts.
faces
You're
up and
nuts.
sticks three-pointers.
Yeah.
How does he
He's
back
a-
you down?
Stop.
Stop the
one-dimensional.
ball.
Stop talking
Stop
about-
the offense scorer.
Stop talking about the
He's a
NBA because
stop-
you're embarrassing yourself. All right?
He's
Now,
a stop the offense, Al, please. He's a stop the offense scorer. That ball stops when it gets to
Okay.
him, and nobody else gets better on the court.
and on ball
Period.
rotation, he
All right,
can't he
wait.
can't face up and
Let's-
knock down
let's-
three-pointers.
Let's calm this down for 1 second.
I mean, you're nuts.
The one thing that does drive me nuts is a sort of an
know in
anti-version,
his
anti-look of the NBA, is what is it about Carmelo Anthony and a lot of players, when things go bad and they're on the bench, the first thing they do is they put the towel on top of their head like they're covering their face, and then when you do get a look at their face, these guys are yucking it up with each other on the bench. That drives me nuts. If you want the image of the league to change and you want to take it seriously, you can't have these guys as they're sitting next to each other and they think they're off camera, the first thing they do is put the towel over their head
that
like
was
they
happening
don't
with
want
the
anyone to see them. But then when you do see them, they're sitting there with big grins on
Well,
their
that was
face.
happening with Al's Lakers last night at the
You
end of the Hawk
see, you
game.
see guys,
I mean, it happens all
you
the
see
time.
guys in the NFL on the bench laughing and smiling when they're behind by 3 touchdowns.
That's a bunch of crap.
I see it all the
Bunch of crap.
time.
I don't ever see it.
Well, then you're not watching the games.
do
and
watch
watching
the game.
guys
I
on the
watch every
sidelines.
Sunday from-
Well, I don't know what you're looking
Small
at.
point, though. The image of this league is not determined by that. The image of the league is determined by the off the field stuff that accumulates, or how well guys, the faces of the franchises, carry themselves.
And the way the best players conduct themselves. And the best players in the NBA, last time I checked, for the most part, conduct themselves pretty well. Okay, we talked about LeBron James and the way he's remade his image.
I like LeBron.
And the way he's carrying himself off the court. Dwayne Wade has been exemplary this year. Kobe Bryant has been a tremendous leader, okay, for the Lakers and has carried them on his back. Got hurt last night. The Lakers are in
forget
very
about
tough
Denver,
shape now.
but that's okay.
Okay.
But getting back to the initial point, can the Knicks survive this body blow? Can they still be the number 2 seed going in? And will
Well,
they
they're number
win
3
it?
right now.
Are they number 3?
And
Indiana
and if
passed
they
them?
fall behind the Nets, they're gonna slide to 6.
I honestly, based upon health, I don't know.
Okay.
If this bad stretch of health continues, they are in trouble.
Oh, clearly.
Plain and
Clearly.
simple. Otherwise, we've seen them
But-
go through scenarios where they go out and lose by 30, and then they come out. I mean, they beat Utah at home the other night by 30.
But
And if-
And they
if
had a nice
Carmelo,
bounce
if
back
Carmelo
run.
gets the knee drain, he comes back and he's Carmelo Anthony and Tyson Chandler's
What is
Tyson
Carmelo?
Chandler.
Then I
Well,
thi-
well,
then I
you
think
two
they'll be
tell
fine.
me what's Carmelo Anthony. It's stop the offense once I get the ball because I'm going to back you down or I'm going to shoot a 3.
You're shortchanging him.
No, I'm not. He's a great scorer,
You're
but he doesn't
shortchanging
make you better. Plain and
we're not
simple. He
talking
doesn't make
about
anybody on the court
we're not
better.
talking about
He
making-
doesn't do what Bryant does for the Lakers. He doesn't do what
Let me
LeBron
ask you
does
a
for the
question.
Heat.
What if
We didn't
who
say
did
he's
who did
Brian
That's
or
what that's what the
James.
Knicks need.
who did
because the
Bernard
rest of their
who did
teams-
Bernard King make better
Not
when he
very
played
good.
for the Knicks?
He was another one. He stopped. He was a great scorer, but stopped the ball. What did the Knicks win with him?
Well,
He
they
had a
nothing-
great
they
one-on-one
had-
duel with Isaiah Thomas
they had-
once.
they had
That's
absolute-
what he's
they had
known
nothing
for. He's a
around
great-
him. They
great
had nothing
scorer.
around him.
These are great scorers, Mike.
Carmelo
but they're not
Anthony.
great
Carmelo
players.
Anthony is in the same state of affairs with the Knicks that Patrick Ewing was with the Knicks.
Patrick Ewing's a
Patrick,
center, Al.
Patrick
That's a whole
Ewing's
different animal.
second best player
John Stark.
was
You're talking
John
about a center.
Dennis.
You're talking
Listen-
about a center.
Wait,
and
wait,
a,
wait,
and
wait.
a
Let
big
it- let it-
Quiet,
let
be
him make
quiet,
his point.
and
Let him make
listen
his
for a
point.
second. All right? Patrick Ewing never had a complimentary quasi second guy. The best he ever had was John Starks, so the best they ever got was second best in the NBA. Do the Knicks even have a healthy John Starks right now?
Well, J.R. Smith's the closest thing they have to John Starks.
Exactly.
And I do think J.R. Smith is probably a slightly
More
better
talented.
version
He's more talented.
of John Starks.
He's more
I think,
talented.
John Starks was really one-dimensional. I think J.R. Smith's got a more multi-faceted game. But I still think, as I said when we discussed this last week, if J.R. Smith is your number 2 option, and I always viewed him as your number 2 option,
You're not
even
go-
with
you're not
you
going to
can't
the NBA
you can't win.
Finals.
You can't win. You just
Absolutely.
can't win.
You can't
All
go
I
to the
heard at the
NBA
beginning
Finals
of the
if
year
you're
was
never
they
drafted.
are in the NBA Finals.
No, who said that?
You're not hearing from the other one, us, and you know it.
Any NBA pundit you heard.
They were going to beat the they were going to beat the
no, they were going to meet
the
Miami
Heat.
in the NBA Finals, and because they whacked them twice the first
That's
2
ridiculous.
games, first 2 meetings, that they had a chance to beat them.
Ridiculous.
I think they're all out to get out of the first round.
Ridiculous. And we
And
should.
I'm
Well,
not anti. I don't have an NBA allegiance. Unlike Al, who's a Laker fan, you don't have an NBA
No.
allegiance either.
No.
But I don't think I think the Knicks. I just don't think the
An NBA allegiance.
yeah, an NBA allegiance.
For him, it's a contradiction in terms.
Yeah, do you watch the NBA? I mean,
no,
But
here's the deal.
should
I do
say
watch. I do
watch the
watch.
NBA.
I do watch, and I can speak to it, and I
To
can tell
see
you the
at
things
the
that I like
last 5
about.
minutes of a game, see who has a towel.
I
over his
think
head.
it's a horrible image, and you see it all the time. And don't tell me you see that in the NFL. I have never seen that in the NFL.
What about
tell
Vince-
me you see.
oh,
Tell me
Cam-
you see
Cam
it.
Newton?
And tell me you see it in the
Cam
Yankee
Newton?
dugout.
Cam Newton.
What
What
about
did he get
him?
criticized for last year? That very thing. Sitting on a bench, end of a game.
Well, at least he got.
towel over
All
his
right,
head.
so maybe you're giving me one example,
No,
and
but
he
there's-
got criticized
I don't
for
think
it.
that determines
In the
teams.
NBA, it's par for the course.
I don't think that determines whether a team. I don't think that determines a team.
I
the
think
big
it
deal for the
determines-
NBA,
I
the
think
biggest
it-
thing for
I
the
think it
NBA
shows character.
Is the rebuilding
Or
of
lack
LeBron.
thereof.
I think,
Jay Cutler gets criticized all the time. It
Right,
happens
we'll
in
come
all
back
sports.
I think the
sports.
biggest deal for the NBA
Okay.
is the rebuilding of LeBron's image because he is the face of the league.
The league, no question.
We'll talk more about LeBron. We'll talk a little bit about the Big East, and the World Baseball Classic is in midstream. Does anybody really care?
I just
More
wish
with
I
the
knew
three.
where they were playing it.
More with the
Miami,
three.
Venezuela.
Can you
the
take a breath? More with the three wise men right after this.
Welcome to my block party. Glad you can make it.
The only triple doubles you get come with fries.
I can do this all day. Your moves are just gay.
Using gay to mean dumb or stupid, not cool.
Not cool.
Not in my house, not anywhere. It's not creative, it's offensive to gay people. And you're better than that.
Three wise men are back. Renato, Goldstein, D'Addario. We want you to follow us on Twitter, by the way. That's at Montclair TV 34. We're going to put out our question of the week, which we want you to give us your answer to as we close the show. But first, a couple things to talk
We
about.
ran a little long on that last one.
No, you ran a little long. That's something that rarely happens.
No crickets today?
Here we go again. NFL free agency, breaking apart the world champion Ravens. And if it ever showed that the NFL is a cold, hard business, what's happened to the Ravens and what we saw with
And the poor Jetsies.
and the Jets, and obviously Wes Welker moves on. Your thoughts, quickly.
Well, Anton Bolden, who was terrific in the playoffs, is a little long in the tooth. So you cut ties with a guy that you don't think can, fill your needs anymore. I have no problem with that. Wes Welker, great receiver for the New England Patriots. Apparently, they gave him a tremendous amount of money up front. They overpaid him for last year, so they didn't want to overpay him again. Listen, I think guys like that are replaceable. I know people think he walks on water, but I think Tom Brady is the reason he walks on water. So I think they already have somebody.
They found his replacement.
Right, they've got his
they've got
replacement.
Amendola.
Amendola,
They got a younger version.
Right, so I mean, they got a younger version of him, so I think they're really not going to miss him. And he's moved on to the other Tom Brady in the league.
Not the other Tom
Well,
Brady.
you know what I mean.
Exactly.
Peyton Manning, so he's going to do just fine. But it is a business. But you know something? These guys I've always been sell high, and that makes sense. You know what I mean? When Mark Bavaro, the great tight end of the Giants, wanted the Giants to keep paying him, they felt like he had served his purpose. They were ready to move on. You sell high, don't sell low, and that's what a lot of these teams are doing. Wes Welker is still a very useful guy, but they think they've gotten everything they need out of him.
But you're not selling. That's the difference. Denny.
What you're speaking to, though, is GMs. I mean, GMs are either sentimental or they're not. You're talking about George Young there. Jerry Reese the same way. I don't know if Ozzie Newsome has made I don't know if Ozzie Newsome just sold out with the Ravens to get this one championship, as Al said, he's right. With the windows closing, you got to get one, and they got one. But the key is, I think, you just don't want to give up a year. And I think the Ravens they'll be a good team next year. They'll figure out a way to be good.
Why hasn't
they still have enough pieces.
Why hasn't anyone signed Victor Cruz or tried to sign Victor
Well,
Cruz?
Victor Cruz, first of all, he's got a first-round tender. He's a slot guy, which is what Welker is. Slot guys are not vertical guys for the most part.
Well, he goes vertical.
No, he is not that kind of vertical
But
guy.
he does
has-
it from the slot
He
with
does
the
to a degree.
protection of Knicks.
Right.
All right,
And-
so
and-
he's
and-
not a
and
primary
he's got a
receiver.
great quarterback throwing to him. So you got to be careful. It's got to be the right fit.
You're exactly
It's gotta
right.
be- everything has to fall into place. I mean, you be careful if you go to Carolina if you're Victor Cruz for $50 million.
Go to Tampa.
Yeah, or go to Tampa. You're gonna, you're not going to be the same.
Go to the
You're
Raiders.
Probably not going to be the same. Now he's got a $2.9 million first-round tender, meaning if another team wants to give him an offer and the Giants don't match it, the Giants get that first-round pick. So and I don't think a first-round tender has ever been exacted. I don't think anybody's ever taken the team up on that. So the Giants are going to have him next year. Question is what happens after that.
What's going on with the Jets? Are they just cleaning house to start over? Is this?
What do you think?
Is this the general manager Isaac doing his job? Is this a statement?
do we
about-
know Idzik yet? Do we know anything about Idzik yet?
I think we will know when the Revis situation comes to a resolution. That will give us the true answer.
Right.
If they are cleaning house and rebuilding, because obviously they would move him for at least a first-round pick or first-round pick
They
and
better.
more.
They better.
Oh, well, they don't. Then they're not going to trade him if they don't get at least a first-round pick
Right.
and probably more picks, I would think. Okay, not more than one first-round pick in terms of first round, but you got to get a first-rounder and some type of other decent.
Well, the Vikings
pick.
got a 1-7-3 for Harvin, so you got to figure Jets are going to get better than that. At least
I
that
can't
for
believe they get at
Revis.
least that for a guy who's coming off major reconstructive knee surgery. Percy Harvin is in his prime, a game
Coming off
breaker.
migraines.
And
He's got
migraines.
Well, he misses a lot of time.
Doesn't
because of
affect
those.
doesn't affect his
No,
legs.
but it misses a lot of time.
Percy
because of
Harvin
those.
is one of the great game breakers in the game, and he
They
is
say
in his
Revis-
prime.
I mean, Revis is the #1 cornerback in the game. I mean,
No, well, I guess he
Coming off
he
a
is.
major injury.
apparently not an issue. But here's the odd thing about the Jets. They basically, the coach is the interesting factor. They are setting this team up to lose this year.
This
I
year.
mean, now I don't have a crystal ball like some people, so I can't tell you how many they're going to win. I think their best hope for a good Jet season would be 9-7, and that's with everything.
Oh, that's a
everything going
pipe
right.
dream.
That's with everything going right, and I haven't seen the whole schedule yet.
But
figuring them to be the same as last year, 6-10, somewhere in there, Rex Ryan is not going to survive that, and it's going to be. It's almost like Idzik has said.
Why
we-
wouldn't he survive that? Well, why is
I think
it why is
he's
it a foregone conclusion that if they're 8-8 or 7-9,
I'd be
that
very
he wouldn't
su-
survive
I'd
that?
be very surprised if he survives
And
another losing season.
are they trying to set themselves up to
New
go
GM,
after
Mike.
Johnny Football or Junior
You
Bridgman?
better be sure.
I think that
Teddy Bridgewater.
Teddy Bridgewater.
I
I'm
think
sorry.
Junior
Junior
Bridgman.
Bridgman.
Same
Getting
school.
Back to the NBA.
Same
Yeah.
school.
That's what confused
25 years
That's
later.
what confused you. Louisville Cardinal.
Louisville, yeah.
Okay,
I think they're
I
cousins.
like that Junior Bridgman.
I think that part of the Kareem Abdul-Jabbar trade. I think that what happens with Sanchez is obviously going to play huge into that.
Well,
factor.
he's out too. I mean, this is
Well,
about
what-
the
no,
coach and quarterback being gone next
what if
year,
Sanchez
and
goes
Idzik
out?
getting his own coach
What
and
if,
quarterback
what if
in.
Sanchez goes out and has a terrific year? I'm not going to say it's happened,
That-
but what if he goes out and he
Isn't
has a
life
really
a lot
good
simpler
year?
for the Jets if he does have a terrific year and they again think he can play?
Well, then the coach stays, the quarterback stays.
Simpler?
And
No, I think it's simpler if he. I think it's simpler if he plays horrible again. Then you clean
me ask you this,
house
guys. Is it
completely. You
human
change the
nature-
regime,
Why
etc.
do you want, if you're the Jets, when you were on the doorstep twice in the last 4 years, okay, with this quarterback?
was 3 years ago.
No, I understand that. The last 2 years,
That
they've
door's
taken
closed.
No, it's closed for this current group.
And the
but is it
personnel has
is it-
changed dramatically.
But is it closed for him?
For who?
For Sanchez.
Well-
he performed admirably, if not terrific, in those 2 playoff runs.
I would say he performed well.
In the postseason.
Well, what's
He
the difference
performed
between
well.
admirably and well?
He did. Yeah. Well, first you went admirable, then you went to terrific.
Well, he had
played-
some terrific games.
He had some terrific
He won
moments.
4 road games. I
Okay,
mean,
he
you
did.
know.
He did a solid job as a young quarterback. The defense carried
But
the team.
they
He made a
thought-
couple big
they
plays,
thought he could
and they
play.
had some luck.
They
Made
thought
that-
he
and
could
so
play.
did I.
The throw
Okay,
to Braylon
so-
Edwards against the Colts. I mean, he
Absolutely.
made a play here
Yes.
and there.
Right. So if they once again think he thinks he can play, okay, it's great that you don't have to chase a rookie quarterback.
Yeah,
Okay.
but the whole key to this thing is Idzik. Idzik wants his own. GMs come in; they want their own guys. Now, does human nature mean if you ask Idzik on the record, he's going to say, "Of course, I want to win 12 games this year." In the back of his mind, he's saying, "When we go 5-11,
Right.
I'm dumping Ryan, I'm dumping Sanchez, and I'm going to put my mark on this team and get my own people."
Let's
in."
move quickly to the Big East. Because we only have a couple minutes left. We're
Al
gonna discuss
Syracuse,
it.
This is
Alameda
it.
won a game
This is the end.
yesterday.
This is the end of the Big East as we know it. The tournament's ongoing, and the Catholic schools obviously are forming their own conference. It's official, and
Except
they
they're
will-
not all
and-
Catholic.
And,
Well,
and,
yes,
they, and they will get the title of the Big
I'm going to
East.
give you my fondest memory of the Big East. I'll never forget it as long as I live. In the Garden, '84, Pro Washington's freshman year, I thought Pro Washington was the most electric player I ever saw play college basketball. Partly because I was a Syracuse fan, and I had never seen a guy dribble the ball and handle the ball like he did. But I'm going to tell you, in the finals against Georgetown that year, people, including myself, were getting up from their seats during timeouts, running, not walking, running to the bathroom to relieve themselves, and then run back before the game started again because they did not want to miss a second of that game. And it was all because of Pearl.
He was electric.
Saw
He was
possibly in
absolutely
person
electric.
your school against St. John's in that '86 final when he was a junior.
Barry's block at the gun.
Just about as good a college game as you'll ever see, and the crowd was Mike. They weren't even leaving for the bathrooms that night. They just didn't want to take a chance and miss anything.
Unfortunately,
It was that good.
unfortunately, he
But
missed
no,
it.
this
He
won't-
missed. He missed the
he
front
missed
end of a 1-and-1.
That's right.
Down the
That's
stretch
right.
of that
well,
game,
which
and
is
then Barry
also
the block.
Syracuse's sort of cross to bear in life. They
Achilles
could
heel, missed free
never,
throws.
ever make foul shots.
But we're not going to see this anymore in the Garden. Syracuse goes to the ACC with
And
Pitt.
my senior year was the first year of the Big East, and Syracuse, Georgetown, St. John's, that was really the bedrock that the
Roosevelt
Big East,
Bu- Roosevelt Bowie?
Roosevelt Bowie, the Louis and Bowie show.
The
That
Louis
was
and
the
Bowie show.
bedrock of the Big East that it was built on, and it's really a sad day for those of us who've watched it, who went to it, who loved it, because the Big East obviously will never be the
Three
same.
biggest coaching figures: Boeheim, Calhoun, Thompson. I guess, right?
I would have to say so. Carnesecca and Riley Massimino, got to put them in the mix
Yeah,
as
yeah,
well,
it's
because they
amazing,
were
yeah.
there for the birth of it. We finish up again. You got to watch us at TV Montclair TV 34. You follow us on Facebook, the Three Wise Men. We're going to close again with our Twitter question, which we want your response to, and I'm going to give it to you guys. The Heat streak is at 20. How far does it get?
I think they have a legitimate shot to get to 33.
Wow.
They have a legitimate shot, but they're playing with fire with these weaker teams, getting in holes, having wire jobs. They'll lose one.
They got San Antonio coming up in a week or so.
They'll
That's
lose
not till
one.
29. Watch out
They'll be ready
tonight.
for the San Antonios.
Watch out tonight for the backcourt, okay, of Milwaukee. I think those guys are going to be
Brandon
pumped
Jennings
up,
can go.
okay? Jennings
That's the
and
one thing
Ellis.
that can hurt the Heat.
Exactly. I think Milwaukee gives them a snootful tonight. We'll see next time we meet where it's at. We want you to answer that on Twitter.
We'll be in a better mood next week.
Don't promise the viewers something that I can't deliver, okay?
Mike and I will be in a better mood next week.
For Goldstein, D'Addario, I'm Al Renata. We are the Three Wise Men, and we will see you again.